Look closely at the shelf of your local garden center. Row after row of neon-colored plastic bottles, each promising a miracle in exchange for $30. They carry warnings in fine print, smells that bite the back of your throat, and a shelf life that demands you return every season to buy more protection. But tucked away in the forgotten corner of a laundry room, inside a humble cardboard box that costs less than a cup of coffee, sits a mineral older than history. It isn't a product of a laboratory. It's a gift from the parched earth of the Mojave. It has served humanity for centuries, yet modern industry would prefer you forget it. Can a single box of white powder really replace an entire arsenal of synthetic chemicals? Can it heal a forest as easily as it cleans a floor? Tonight, we pull back the curtain on the chemical illusion to reveal a truth that has been hiding in plain sight, a mineral blueprint for total garden resilience. When we see a leaf curled by aphids or a tomato weeping with rot, our first instinct is to reach for a weapon. We see an invasion that must be crushed. But in the language of the forest, a pest is never just a pest. They are the cleanup crew. They are the messenger sent to tell you that something is missing. A gardener in Florida watches his heirloom trees drop fruit year after year, searching the leaves for a pest he can never find, unaware the earth itself is empty. In sandy soils, where summer rains wash the land clean of its vitality, our plants are often starving even as we drench them in standard fertilizers. We feed them massive amounts of nitrogen, creating growth that looks lush but feels hollow, tissue that is literally too watery to defend itself. This is the invisible hunger. We see the hollow heart in our potatoes and the brittle stems of our broccoli, and we blame the weather or a lack of luck. But the real problem isn't the presence of the insect. It's the absence of the mineral rebar that should be holding the plant's cellular walls together. Most attempts to solve this fail because they target the symptoms, pouring poison onto a wound that actually needs a trace amount of geological medicine. What if the secret to a pest-free garden wasn't a more powerful toxin, but a deeper understanding of how nature moves its most essential building blocks? To understand this, we have to look at the relationship between two specific elements, calcium and boron. In botany, calcium is the building blocks. It builds the walls. It gives the fruit its crunch and the tree its strength. But calcium is heavy, stubborn, and remarkably difficult for a plant to move. Think of boron as the calcium navigator. Without this tiny trace mineral, the calcium you provide sits stuck in the roots or trapped in the old leaves. It's like having a warehouse full of bricks, but no trucks to deliver them to the construction site. The plant grows, but its foundation is fatally flawed. Boron acts as the traffic cop of the plant's internal highway, directing sugars and minerals exactly where they need to go, from the leaves to the roots. It is the key that unlocks the cellular doors, allowing a plant to build rebar into its structure. When boron is present, the plant becomes a fortress. Even the reproductive cycle depends on it. Have you ever seen a tree covered in blossoms, only to watch every flower drop to the ground without fruiting? That is often a biological failure of reproduction caused by a boron drought. Without it, the pollen tube cannot grow, and the promise of a harvest vanishes. By restoring this one hidden principle, we aren't just feeding a plant. We are activating its internal GPS, ensuring every ounce of energy is used for defense. Long before we had soil sensors and laboratory tests, people understood this rhythm. They didn't call it chemistry, they called it survival. Our journey into this wisdom takes us back to the 1880s, to a place where the earth itself seems to resist life, the scorched salt flats of Death Valley. History remembers the legend of the 20 mule teams, massive hitches of animals hauling 10-ton wagons across 160 miles of burning desert. They weren't hauling gold or silver. They were hauling white gold, the raw mineral known as borax. To the pioneers, this wasn't a cleaning hack. It was a foundational tool. It was used for sanitation in the heat, for preserving the health of livestock, and for fortifying the trees in young orchards. They knew what we are only just relearning. That independence isn't bought in a store. It's reclaimed from the Earth's own ancient, stable resources. This mineral didn't rely on global supply chains or volatile oil markets. It was a bridge to a time before petroleum chemistry dictated our food. By looking back at these dusty wagons, we see a blueprint for a future that is less fragile, more rooted, and infinitely more self-reliant. So how do we move from history into our own soil? It begins with what I call the 11-way protocol, a system that uses one box to solve 11 problems. The first pillar of this system is the social insect disruptor. Unlike sprays that kill on contact, borax leverages the very biology of the ant colony. Through a process called trophallaxis, workers carry the mineral back to the heart of the nest, sharing it with the queen in a Trojan horse strategy. It doesn't just clear a counter. It collapses the entire invasion at its source, quietly and effectively, without releasing a cloud of poison. Then, we look at the physical mechanics. Borax is a desiccant. To a slug or a flea, these crystals are like walking across a floor of broken glass. It abrades their exoskeletons, dehydrating the pests that hide in your carpets or garden beds, providing a physical barrier that never loses its edge. Moving into the canopy, we find the orchard wash. A simple solution applied at the right time can prevent internal cork in apples and fruit drop in citrus. It ensures that the fruit you've waited all year for doesn't rot from the inside out, saving years of effort with a few cents worth of mineral salts. And perhaps most importantly, there is the brix enhancement. By moving sugars into the fruit, borax increases the density and sweetness of your harvest. A high sugar content isn't just for taste, it's a weapon. Most pests cannot digest complex sugars, meaning a sugar-rich plant is naturally unappetizing. But as we step into this power, we must respect the power of the pinch. Boron is a master nutrient in traces, but it becomes an herbicide in excess. The formula is precise. 1 tablespoon per 100 square feet is often all it takes to shift a landscape from frailty to a state of fortification. When these components work together, the minerals, the biology, and the timing, the garden starts to look less like a struggle and more like a masterpiece. But understanding how the system works is only part of the story. Because once these principles move from theory into real life, the results become far more remarkable than most people ever expect. Consider the heavy financial burden of the conventional path. Year after year, hundreds of dollars vanish into neon-colored bottles that eventually find their way to a landfill. It is an exhausting cycle of spending more and more to achieve less and less. Now look at that same garden after a single season of shifting toward mineral rebalancing and soil health. The transformation begins in your ledger. A $200 chemical cycle is replaced by a $5 mineral investment that can last for several seasons of focused growth and healing. But the real change is written in the very vitality of the plants themselves. It is a biological shift that you can see with your eyes and feel with the weight of your harvest in autumn. Compare a tomato grown on a generic NPK diet, often misshapen, watery, and prone to rotting before it even reaches the table, with a mineral-heavy, boron-focused fruit from your own soil. The density is different. It sits heavy in the palm of your hand, tight and perfectly formed. There is a structural integrity to the cell walls that defies the usual decay of the season. This is the brix effect in action. As the sugars rise within the plant, something remarkable happens at the molecular level. A sugar-rich plant is no longer an easy meal for common pests. By moving complex sugars and minerals where they belong, you are essentially turning off the dinner bell that usually calls for aphids and beetles to dismantle your hard work. The garden stops being a battlefield where you are the weary soldier constantly on patrol. It becomes a self-defending fortress, powered by the ancient chemistry of the earth itself. Instead of fighting nature with a spray bottle, you are finally working with the blueprint of life. The plants aren't just surviving, they are thriving with a visible, waxy, vibrant glow. But as dramatic as this physical transformation can be, the greatest change in this journey is often not found in the soil or the fruit. It is something much more personal and profound. To truly understand the weight of this shift, we have to look at the stories of people who have stood on the brink of losing everything they've planted, only to find the answer in a pinch. In the sun-drenched center of Florida, where the sandy soil can swallow everything you give it without leaving a trace, lives a veteran orchardist and citrus grower named Elias. For 5 long years, Elias watched his heirloom trees, his legacy and his livelihood, slowly wither. He had spent his life tending to the land, but now the land seemed to be turning away. The leaves on his prize citrus were turning a sickly, pale yellow. The fruit would often drop to the ground before it was even close to being ripe, full of dark, bitter gummy pockets. Elias did what any modern farmer is told to do. He bought the expensive sprays. He followed the advice of every chemical salesman who pulled into his driveway, promising a quick miracle fix. He poured thousands of dollars into synthetic solutions that only seemed to make the trees more fragile. The mystery disease persisted, and the hope of an orchard was fading fast. He was on the verge of clearing the land entirely, convinced that the harsh Florida elements and the invisible pests had finally won the war for the future of his family's farm. Then, sitting on a wooden bench with a simple soil test in his hand, he saw the void. It wasn't a plague or a curse. It was an absolute, measurable lack of essential trace minerals. The cure he had been searching for through years of struggle didn't come in a hazardous chemical drum. It came from a simple box of mineral salts that cost less than his morning coffee. Within a single season of applying the 11-way protocol, the transformation was undeniable. The flush of new growth on those dying branches was a deep, waxy, and resilient emerald green. The fruit didn't just stay on the trees, it grew heavy and sweet. Elias didn't just save his orchard. He reclaimed his connection to the earth and his confidence as a steward of the land. Seeing those branches laden with perfect, mineral-dense citrus for the first time in years was more than just a successful harvest. It was a moment of profound emotional validation. It was the ultimate proof that the small, humble things of the earth can save the big, important dreams of a lifetime. It was the realization that nature is rarely broken beyond repair. Elias's story is a single thread in a much larger tapestry. Because the struggle he faced is becoming a global reality for families and communities trying to secure their own food future. This story matters today because we are living in an era of unprecedented volatility. Our modern food system is built on a foundation of sand, held together by expensive, petroleum-based oil. When global supply chains falter or international markets fluctuate, the price of synthetic nitrogen and chemical pesticides climbs beyond the reach of the average family gardener. But minerals like borax are different. They are stable. They are sourced directly from the ancient deposits of the earth, and they remain accessible to anyone with the wisdom to use them. In fragile environments like Florida's sandy aquifers, the choices we make on our own plots of land ripple outward. Using mineral salts instead of persistent poisons is an act of legacy. It ensures that we aren't just growing food for today, but that we are protecting the water and the life of the land for the generations that will walk these roads after we are gone. Resilience is not just a survival strategy. It is the quiet, steady ability to maintain your own abundance regardless of what is happening in a corporate office halfway across the globe. It is about closing the loop. It is about returning to what is reliable, what is geological, and what is true. It's about building a future that is rooted in the earth instead of a lab. This journey into the mineral world teaches us a lesson that extends far beyond the garden fence. It is a fundamental shift in how we perceive the complexity of the world around us. We are often conditioned to believe that bigger problems require bigger, more expensive solutions. We think we need massive machinery or cutting-edge tech to change a landscape. But the principle of Liebig's law of the minimum tells us a different story. It reminds us that growth is not controlled by the total resources available, but by the single scarcest one. You can provide all the water and sunlight in the world, but if that tiny, essential power of the pinch is missing from the equation, the entire system will eventually stall and fail. This is the ultimate lesson of micro-stewardship. It is an invitation to look closer at our lives and our land, to listen to the small whispers of deficiency before they become screams. Mastery is found in the details, not in dominance. When we learn to respect the smallest elements of the natural world, we unlock an abundance that is far greater than the sum of its parts. This was never just about a box of laundry soap or a bag of mineral salts. This was always about the recovery of a forgotten standard, a way of living that is both ancient and necessary. As the sun sets over a fortified garden, the contrast we saw at the very beginning of this journey finally resolves. The neon-colored plastic bottles seem smaller, almost insignificant now. They are merely a distraction from the simple, grounded truth that has been waiting for us all along. The hum of the insects in the air is no longer a threat. It is a part of the harmony. The soil is not just a medium to be manipulated with force, but a living partner to be nurtured with care. And in your hand, you hold a box that contains a piece of ancient history. The abundance you've been searching for was never hidden at the bottom of an expensive, proprietary chemical jug. It was waiting in the mineral grit of the parched Mojave earth. It was waiting for your hands to reach for it, for your mind to understand it, and for your garden to receive it. Nature doesn't need us to invent a more powerful form of chemistry. It only asks that we provide the right mineral at the right moment in the right rhythm. The blueprint for a resilient, abundant future is already written in the very dust at our feet. If this story changed the way you see the land and the potential of your own garden, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear about your own journey towards soil health. And if you'd like to learn more practical ways to build true resilience, abundance, and food freedom, subscribe to Perma to Plate and join our growing community of modern stewards.